And welcome back to the live stream. How you doing, folks? Daryl Prell here, your ongoing host, as we have been traveling this road of nonstop interviews for the last 2 days. We are down to our second last scheduled interview, and I make that caveat of scheduled because, you know, again, we just have people jumping to be here and be heard and share their wisdom with you, but we'll see how the day goes. Joining me right now is Melissa Swartz. Melissa, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, Melissa is with Swartz Consulting, and that's real simple, SWARTZ,
Correct.
right?
That's the trick to it.
Now, the question is, if I wanted to multitask and check out Swartz Consulting while I'm listening to the Swartz herself, is there a website I would go to for that?
SwartzConsulting.com.
That is so cryptic. I don't know.
It took a long time to come up with that.
I don't doubt it. All right, so tell me a little bit, for our audience, a little bit about, the role you play, and maybe the type of clients you would work with and how you can help them.
So most of our clients are either looking for some sort of UC solution or a contact center solution or possibly some sort of connectivity solution, maybe SIP trunking or something like
Right.
that. So we work with them to define their needs and then find the solution that best fits those needs. So to match them with their best solution.
So that would make sense then, because if I understand right, you just presented a session on practical advice for SIP trunking implementations. Is that right?
That is correct.
All right. So look, like you do that for a living, and now you're on panels. Go
There
figure
you
that
go.
out.
There you
It's
go.
crazy how that works. So if I go back to that session that you were involved in and say to you, what are some of the top pieces of advice to make your deployment go smoother?
Right.
What would you tell me?
I would say that one of the things that I think catches people most often is how difficult porting numbers is. So if you're moving numbers from one carrier to another, that can be a very time-consuming process. And I think that most people don't allow enough time for that. So if you think it's going to take 30 days, I would say allow 60, maybe even 90
Okay.
to get that done.
Are people shocked when you tell them that? Are they surprised?
Yeah, it's if you haven't gone through the process, it doesn't want to give them up, and so they will a lot of times try anything.
Right.
So you can submit paperwork, and let's say that your company name is ABC Company, comma Inc. If you submit the paperwork without the comma, they may cut it back and say not the right company
Exactly.
name. And so then the clock starts all over again, and
Oh,
you
man.
start the countdown again. So it could take a long time.
All right. Now, any other big advice for making the deployment go smoother?
I would say that once you have your SIP trunks installed, test. So if you are hoping to have some sort of failover solution, test your failover, test all of your number groups in your failover mode. Before you even deploy, test numbers and make sure that everything's working. Test the caller ID, make sure that it's incoming and outgoing is what you want it to be.
Yep.
Test through an IVR system if you have one. You can't be too complete in your testing.
Are there standard test plans that you can use and grab, so to speak?
We have one that we do, but I have never seen one online that's like a standard test plan. So.
Right. Because that's often the secret to testing is because some people just don't always know what to test.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's why I was asking about that one. Well, then again, if they weren't sure and you have one, they could just go to you.
Exactly.
See how that works?
I could help.
All right. Now, I'm going to ask you the next question. I want to know, are you seeing demand for SIP trunking continue to increase among your consulting clients? And before I get you to answer that, I'll put an adjunct into that. If you are, why?
Okay.
And if you aren't, why not?
The answer is definitely yes.
So you are. You're still seeing that demand?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And you're not even being shy about it. It's like an emphatic yes.
Emphatic yes. I have heard statistics that say that only like 20 to 40% of customers globally, within the entire customer base, have actually moved to SIP trunking. So I find
it?
I know. Doesn't that seem weird?
That seems really weird.
I'm not sure that actually is a correct statistic, but
let's
there
assume
are
it's
a
even
lot,
partially on the way.
Yeah, there are a
It's
lot
still-
that haven't.
Wow.
So, there's going to be a lot of people that continue to move to SIP trunking. The contracts expire or whatever, and now it looks like time, but there's a lot that aren't on it yet.
Wow. And so why are they? Why does that demand continue to increase?
So one reason is that the legacy carriers really are pushing people off of TDM solutions.
Yep.
So they are no longer offering a lot of them.
Yeah.
And so they're forcing people to move.
Got to go somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. So as contracts expire, they'll say, sorry, we're not offering that option.
Yeah.
And then there are a lot of other reasons to move to SIP. It's often a cost savings opportunity. It allows a lot of DR options that you wouldn't have, a lot of user control. So there's a lot of reasons to move to it besides just cost. So overall, a lot more simplicity in network configuration and design can be achieved. So there's a lot of reasons to move to it.
All right. Now, I know with you specifically, you've written a lot about unified communications as a service, or the
Right.
classic, UCaaS.
Right.
So I got to ask you, what do you see on that front?
So I see mixed results on that. I know a lot of the vendors are saying that the adoption rate is just a hockey stick at this point. A lot of them have reached a crossover where they have more cloud customers than premise.
Yeah.
And then there's all the cloud options out there that never even had a premise option. So it's huge. But I see clients being careful about making that step and wanting to really take a look at it, and worried about reliability, worried about things like that. Amazon failure a couple of weeks ago don't help the cloud.
It didn't impact me at all.
So,
I did not receive 1,000 calls from my clients at the same time either.
right, yeah. So, but I think in general there are a lot of reasons to move to cloud, and I don't think that momentum is going to go away.
And I suspect Amazon will learn from that experience, so they're
Oh, yeah.
only
Of course
going
they
to get
will.
it better.
Of
right?
course they will.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
that's huge. All right, any final thoughts or words of wisdom as you're at the show and you're talking to people that you want to share with us now?
Well, I think the thing that has struck me at the show is the number of cloud providers and the number of cloud contact centers and UCaaS providers. Just seems to just grow exponentially every year. And so there are just a lot of new companies, a lot of new opportunities, and it's a crowded marketplace, but there are lots of options out there to look at.
All right, this is Melissa Swartz with Swartz Consulting, and it's swartzconsulting.com, is that right?
That's correct.
Oh, I got a good memory, that's awesome. So you can learn more about her if you go there. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining us today, Melissa.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to be back very soon with our last live stream of the show. Stay tuned for it. Hopefully you'll join us because we've enjoyed this journey together. Stay tuned, folks.